people ask what's the best thing and worst thing about being child free. The best thing about being child free is you have time, money, and freedom to do what you want. The worst thing is the other people's judgment. So I posted a, welcome to the company of an employee. I'm like, hey, so-and-so has joined, their CFP and this and the other. And social media is like, I'm praying for your souls because you're not having kids. And why do you need all this? And so I made the mistake of engaging in the discussion. This was the last time I engaged in any of those.
Sure.
And his response was, well, you all have voted for these social policies. You need to have kids. So we have taxpayers and warriors. I'm like,
oh God,
what is it like? That's why we need to I'll go on a financial podcast and like, well, if people stop having kids, Social Security is going to fall apart. I'm like, that's a problem with Social Security. That's not a problem with us.
Right.
But all of this judgment comes and we have to deal with it. I mean, I was at a financial conference watching speakers. And by the way, talk about boring conferences most of the time, but all right. So speaker's up there and says, quote, working with people without kids is the worst. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I sent something to the organizer. I'm like, this is not right. Let's just kind of flip this out. And if that same speaker said, working with women is the worst, working with men, or any other group,
right,
the whole conference would have shut down.
Right.
This example, when I went to the conference and said, hey, this is not appropriate, they're like, well, he should have reworded it better. I'm like, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
What he actually meant to say was estate planning for child-free people is a challenge. That is true. That's not judging the group. When you say a group is the worst to work with,
right,
that's the type of environment that my clients are getting from other planners. And then you wonder why they felt, like they're at home with us. It makes good sense.
That is super interesting. So I'm on my early mid 40s, and I'm from a gigantic Italian family, and I'm child free, and it's really interesting. The ones that are friends of mine who have great kids and we have great relationships with, I have great relationships with them, but when they're getting older, you start to see they're not recommending having kids as strongly as they were earlier on, and even the friends of mine. That one girl in particular, I love because she's always so honest with me when she just hates being a mom that day. And even I love my kids, but I want to just put them in a cage for a month or something like that. And one thing she said to me was really interesting was that a child behavioral therapist that she deals with to get advice sometimes said to her, anyone that works as hard as you need to work to be a great parent would never fault someone else who doesn't want to have kids because they would get how hard it is. So that's what I find really interesting in what you're saying, because we're surrounded with everyone that's having kids, and it's kind of like the whole religion debate as well. I don't care if you have 10 kids. I think that's insane, but go ahead. If you want to have 10 kids, have 10 kids. If you want to have one, if you want to have 4. I still don't know if in my life I'm going to have them or not. But if I don't want to, you have no right to tell me if I should or should not have kids. Just like you can be whatever religion you want, you have no right to tell me that I need to believe in something. And so this is more impactful than I thought it was going to be around the group of child-free planning. So I'm not surprised that you said before we started recording that just you talking about I guess accepting people that want to be child-free and plan and have their money, that people are so angry and engaged with your conversation. It's really fascinating that you're getting that sort of vitriol, but also I'm not so surprised.
Well, and the way I say it is, I don't get a vote in their life. They don't get a vote in mine. That's just kind of the bottom line. You want to have kids? Yeah. You don't care. That's your life. I don't get a vote on how you spend your money. I don't get how you... But you mentioned religion, so you get a kick out of this. So my wife and I went to get married about 15 years ago, and she had grown up in the Catholic Church, and we're going to go get married. Her family wants to get married in their church. I grew up Methodist. Sure, I'm okay either way. So we go to the priest. Hey, blah blah blah. You got to do all the meetings, and they say you got to agree to raise your kids Catholic. I said no problem. We agree to raise our kids Catholic. We're not having any. He goes, oh no. You have to agree to have kids and raise them Catholic. They refused to marry us.
Oh my god.
We could not get married in the Catholic Church because we were, not having kids.
No way.
Still ignoring that it's a medical reason. It's a medical reason. My wife has a 50-50 chance of dying if she gets pregnant. So we have a reason, but we went to three Catholic churches. Nope. Wouldn't happen. Now I thought I was weird. And then I thought maybe 15 years ago, time. Some of the other days, a couple months ago, same thing. Went to a Catholic church, couldn't get married because they wouldn't agree to have kids and raise them Catholic.
Well, you should just lie to them. They lie to everybody, so I don't know what the difference is.
We got that feedback from family members. They're like, I'm like, listen, I'm not Catholic, but if you lie to a priest, that's some circle of hell. I just don't know which one it is.